Hi guys, jumping on for our at-home learning this week, and again we are still looking at our orchestra and the different sections that make up an orchestra. Last week you remember we went over our woodwinds, and this week we are going to go over the brass instrument family. So those instruments are a trombone, French horn, trumpet, tuba, and they all make very different sounds. But the instruments are made the same way. They are made out of brass or metal. So I'm going to read the little paragraph for you so that you can kind of understand what we're talking about this week. And then just the same as last week, we are going to have some listening that we are going to do that is about each specific instrument, okay? Now for you guys, I have two instrument listening pages. So that you have two different ones that you can listen to because they're two different sounds. For the older students, there will be an extra sheet for them just because I know that they can take a little bit more time to get some more of this work done, and there's other instruments that I would like them to learn about as well, okay? So here we go. Are you ready? I'm going to turn my page so that you can see, okay? So I'm going to be reading this section right here. A major family of instruments is the brass instrument family. It includes the trumpet, tuba, trombone, French horn, bugle, and cornet, just to name a few. Most brass instruments are made out of, you guessed it, brass. They are used in all sorts of music, making a brilliant and often loud sound. What makes an instrument a part of the brass family? The main difference between the brass instruments and other instruments is how the vibration to create the sound and notes is made. With a brass instrument, the vibration is created by the lips of the musician. By pressing the lips up against the mouthpiece and blowing, a vibration is created. The rest of the horn helps to amplify, which means to make the noise louder, and create different notes. This is different from the woodwind family, where air blowing across an edge or a reed causes the vibrations. So when you're looking at your sheet this week, here are some different mouthpieces that can be used for different brass instruments. This one here that's larger is usually for a tuba. This one is a little bit smaller, but not much. That's for a trombone. This one right here would be for a trumpet, and this right here would be for a French horn. So when you are looking at blowing into those mouthpieces for a trumpet, it's easier because you don't have to kind of purse your lips really, really tiny to be able to make that sound. When you are playing for the French horn, it's very, very difficult because you have to have your lips kind of squished in really tight and then blow through them, okay? So when they're talking about a mouthpiece, this is what they're talking about right here, okay? Let's keep reading. Oh, and before I forget, when they were talking about a cornet at the very beginning of our paragraph, that just means a trumpet that is smaller. Same thing with our flute. Remember we talked about our flute, where a flute and a piccolo are a similar instrument, but the smaller instrument, the piccolo, plays a higher sound. It's the same thing with the cornet, okay? All right, here we go. Types of music. Brass instruments are used in all sorts of music. Some of the most popular type of brass music is played in big bands, classical orchestras, and jazz. One of the main places we see brass instruments played today is in marching bands. This is because brass instruments can be played loudly without electrical amplification, which means having it plugged in to make it sound louder, okay? Now, plus, they can be played and carried while marching. Smaller groups of brass instruments may be used in rock music, mariachi bands, which is for Spanish music, which is really fun to listen to, and smaller ensembles. These generally use instruments like the trumpet, trombone, and saxophone, which is really a woodwind. But when you look at a saxophone, it is made with brass, but it has a reed, just like a clarinet does, okay? So, moving on to our sheets. This week, you are going to be listening to some trumpet music and filling in that same information that we did last week, right? So where you tell me what you listen to, because I'm going to give you a couple of different choices on there, okay? You're going to tell me if the tempo was fast or slow, or if it had both and it changed back and forth. You're going to tell me about the mood, and there's some choices here that you can pick from. We're going to talk about the dynamics, if it was loud or soft, or if it had both because it changed throughout the piece of music, okay? You are going to tell me in some words what the song made you think of, and then you are going to draw an animal that it made you think of, okay? I saw some amazing drawings from your work last week. I went to pick it up at the school, and I was so impressed. You took so much time and energy and effort in making sure that you completed your sheets, especially even the drawing at the very end, which was probably the last thing that you did, maybe the first thing. It doesn't really matter. You can do it in any order that you want. But I love how hard you worked on all of your assignments last week. They look amazing. I'm very, very, very proud of you. Okay, so we have our trumpet, and now we have our trombone. Now, there's two things that are different. With a trumpet, you can see right here, I'm going to move this up so you can really see. There's these little pads right here, 1, 2, 3, where you put your fingers and you play, and as you're blowing air, depending on which, I'm trying to think of the best word, what button, let's say button. Whatever button you push, it makes a different note or a different sound, okay? Now, the difference with a trombone is that this right here slides back and forth. And that's what helps to create the sound. There are no fingering buttons for you to use, which is really cool, okay? Now, again, the same as every week, if you have questions, please let me know, okay? I love it when you send me your questions because that tells me that you are working very hard in making sure that you're completing the work that I'm giving you. It makes me super happy. So, don't feel bad if you have to ask a question. There's even things that I don't know about music stuff sometimes, and I have to figure it out too, okay? So please send me a message if you need some help. I would love to help you. You can email me, leslie.scully@hillsideschool.ca. You can send me a message on the Facebook page for Hillside, and you can send me a message on the YouTube page, okay? I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope that you are staying safe, and I cannot wait to see you again soon. Take care. Bye.